What is up, my nerd family, and welcome back to another episode of Gamesymaspod, the podcast where we're talking about all things board games, video games, and pop culture. Today we are joined by Shae from RTFM, right? RTFM, yes. I am so excited to have you, man. I'm so honored that you're here. You're like a celebrity, bro, to me. Like you're up there with Watch It Play with Rodney and everyone.
Wow. He's a little higher up than I am.
I count you up there with me.
Yeah,
you're up there, and so I'm so excited to have you here.
So
we're gonna be continuing our top shelf or yard sale segments here, where we are looking at board games and deciding if this game is worthy to be on your top shelf or at your neighbor's weekly yard sale, which you don't want to have that there. So. I'm very excited. We're going to dive into Twilight Imperium.
This one.
Yeah, that one back there. There you go. So, how'd that get there? Huh, interesting.
I guess it's here. Let's talk about it.
I might as well. Yeah. I wanted to talk about Monopoly, but okay, whatever. Well, I guess Twilight.
That'd be a shorter episode.
Yeah, right, yeah. Yard sale. Anyway. But yeah, I'm very excited. We're going to ask some questions. Maybe do a little bit, get to know you a little bit, Shae. Maybe a little background of your YouTube channel, which we'll plug in as well. And then, So with all that being said, guys, grab a chair, pull up some dice, and acompáñame a jugar.
First take.
Yeah, I butchered that, but it's okay. I like it because I like the rawness. I'm not too professional when it comes to this stuff. But anyway, Shae, before we get into the podcast, deep into the questions,
I thought we were doing the podcast right now, but all right.
Oh yeah. No. This is the
pre-podcast.
The pre-podcast
okay,
party. Yeah. And then we'll get into the real podcast.
Okay, cool. It's a fake.
Exactly. We ask our first-time guests, icebreaker questions.
Sure.
And though it's a two-part question, and I'm very curious. I already know the first answer, maybe, unless you changed it while
What a wild thing that would be.
Yeah, exactly. But for those that are listening, they're familiar with our icebreaker questions. And the first question is, what is your favorite board game of all time? And I always preface this to everyone that's listening for the first time. Thank you for listening, by the way. When I say favorite board game, I'm including dice games, card games, tabletop, party games. A lot of people, I've had a couple of guests were like, can I say a dice game? I'm like, yeah, of course,
Yeah.
So favorite board game of all time. And then the second part is favorite video game of all time.
Okay.
Again, that one I'll include console gaming, PC, arcade games. If you like a special arcade game that you as a kid.
I do have a special fondness for the old X-Men cabinet.
Oh, that was a fun one.
But we're not there yet.
Yeah, okay.
We gotta talk about board games first.
Gotcha. Yes, there you go.
So I would say, if you're watching the video, you can see the game that's next to my head. Twilight Imperium is I would have to say is my favorite. Not because it's the game that I played the most. Absolutely not. But it's still one of those games that I don't feel like any other game provides the same kind of experience. And it's a game that I keep wanting to come back to. Not all that often. I play it like once or twice a year.
Right.
But every time I play, and I can actually organize a game of it, which is no small feat in its own.
Yeah.
Every time I do, I always have a great experience. And so I love Twilight Imperium. It's such a good... It's messy and it's bonkers, but it's so much fun every time I play.
It's like messy, but it's like it's your messy. Like
absolutely.
You love
it. There's definitely tighter games. There's definitely games that are much cleaner, that are that have a good experience in a shorter time, or easier to get to the table. But there's nothing quite like Twilight Imperium, in my opinion.
Got you. I'm curious, what do you think of it competing with ARCs? I know you did a... See, this is the thing. Like, there's always these games that come up, and people are always comparing it to Twilight Imperium. Right. And I get why they do. Because it's a big game. It's space-themed, and it has certain elements that are reminiscent of it. Right.
But I don't think in the vast majority of these really have anything to do... Like, the gameplay is just not similar.
Right.
So I love ARCs. Did a recent tutorial for ARCs, and... for the expansion, though, secret, I haven't played the expansion.
You just explained it.
Because that's hard to get a group for. And it's not like Twilight Imperium where you can get a group of new players and you'll still have a good time.
Right.
With the ARCs expansion, you really want people who have played base game ARCs a few times and are really comfortable with it before you try and do campaign ARCs. And I don't have friends that are at that point yet.
Got you.
I do really want to try campaign ARCs.
Got you.
So I can't say with 100% certainty that it provides a different experience in Twilight Imperium. I've heard that it is compared to that, but I still don't think it's going to be exactly the same. Though I am very excited to try it.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. There. And go check out that video, guys. That one that you did the tutorial with, the beginning one, and then go check out Arcs as well, and then go check out the expansion, and then hit up Shae because he's looking for people. There you go. So you get that crew going. So you get that rolling. Okay. So Twilight Imperium, obviously, no brainer. Top favorite, all time favorite board game. I mean, when I heard about this game, I was like, I need to get this game, and I was like.
It is one of those games that I think that like people who really like board games should try at least once. It's not going to be for everyone. I have friends who hate Twilight Imperium.
Really?
Oh yeah.
They shouldn't be your friends.
No. It's just like it's just not their style of game.
Gotcha,
I'm not throwing him under the bus, but Nick Murphy of the Brothers Murph. Some of my best friends, one of my favorite board game channels. Definitely check them out.
Yes, check them out.
But Nick Murphy hates Twilight Imperium because the kind of game that is just not the kind of game that he wants to play. He doesn't really like negotiation. It's really heavy strategy. It lasts a really long time.
It does, yeah.
And all those things are things that they don't really jive with him. He hates Arcs even more.
Really?
Yeah. It's just, I played it with him and he's like, this is probably one of the worst games for me.
Really?
He wasn't saying it was a bad game. It's just like for him, not good.
Not his cup of tea.
And that's totally understandable. You know, different games for different people.
Right. Definitely.
So and that's fine.
Interesting. Okay. Well, Twilight Imperium. All right, we got it down. I'm curious to hear about your video game obsession here. If you got any,
I do play a lot of video games.
Yep.
I mean, I've been playing video games longer than I've been playing board games.
Right.
So there's a lot. If it comes to just number of hours and like. This is really going to put me into a lane. If it comes to number of hours, the game that I would say is my favorite is Civilization.
Civ? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Which
Sid
one?
Meier's Civ. I mean,
all of them, or
I've had good experiences with almost all of them. What was it? Beyond Earth. I didn't really like that much. But no one did for some reason. I don't know. You didn't connect to it very much. Because it's sci-fi resources. No, everything is kind of nebulous. And whatever. Anyway. 5 and 6, both I think were really, really good.
Okay.
At least those are the ones that are really stuck in my memory. Maybe recency bias. But I've really enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to Civ 7, which is coming out like the day before my birthday.
Oh, no way.
Like, that feels targeted, but okay.
Oh, hey, honey, my birthday's coming.
Exactly.
There's a game coming out. I want to get it. Civ, me and my boy used to play Civ 4 all the time. We always had like this ongoing like campaign where like
Here's the thing. I've never actually played Civ against another person.
Really?
I only ever play because it's one of those things. It takes so long. I don't really like async play that much.
Okay.
So if I'm playing with a person, I want to like play through the whole game.
Right.
And so playing a Civ game with another person over the course of like weeks doesn't really appeal to me.
Yeah, I got you.
But also, I just don't have a lot of friends that like Civ as much as I do. So
I love Civ. Like I love playing that game so much, man. That's why me and my boy used to play all the time. And we started off with the world small. We're like, let's go small world and like let's go 6 nations. All right, when we started playing, and then like we forgot to change the difficulty. So like the other nations are like why are you here all of a sudden? Like I'm barely in the barbarian state. I haven't entered a certain area yet.
Yeah.
But we love playing because I'm like, bro, where you at? I'm like, I don't know. Like I'm gonna go invade you. Like, yeah, you better not. You're like all the trash talking.
We should say, I guess for people, if anyone hasn't played Civilization before, it is a 4X game similar to Twilight Imperium, where you are starting from the ground up of like a basic civilization, and you build them up into a world spanning thing. It's all and so it's a game that's been going on since the 90s, I want to say. And then this thing, I started it with Civ 1.
Really?
When I was a little baby child. My brother got Civ 1. He was playing that, and I would like watch him and played a little bit. And then Civ 2, I was playing a lot.
Oh, okay.
And so I've been playing it since basically the start.
Oh, nice.
I never played Alpha Centauri, which is like the
old school.
Sid Meier left Firaxis for a minute.
Yeah.
Or, maybe it was a different company back then. Anyway, doesn't matter. I think I've played every single Civ game that's come.
Nice. Okay.
So when it comes to hours, I would have to say Civ. Though I would say close second would be Mass Effect.
Mass Effect.
I played all of the Mass Effect.
Yeah,
games.
Andromeda as well.
Yeah.
I couldn't get into Andromeda.
And that's fair. It was
mostly because I think the time when I was playing, I was like 4 other games deep in, and I tried it. I'm like, I couldn't like I don't think it's a bad game. It's just like I couldn't like put my attention to it at the time. Like I'll probably have to get back into it for sure.
So yeah, Mass Effect. There's the trilogy, Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. This grand space opera, and had an amazing story, and I was really, really into it. Like from the beginning, even though, and so I've played the remastered trilogy.
Oh, okay.
And Mass Effect 1 is not good.
Really?
It's not a good game. Like the story is still.
I thought the storyline was like
and some of the combat in Mass Effect 1 is pretty good. But a lot of Mass Effect 1, I think, is tedious.
It was, yeah.
And so when you compare Mass Effect Andromeda, which is like the spin-off sequel to Mass Effect 3, not different timeline, but literally different galaxy.
Yeah.
I thought the gameplay of that was a lot better than Mass Effect 1.
Yeah, yeah.
But I also think that it had a thing that I don't like in video games, which is crafting. I don't like crafting in video games.
Yeah.
I think it's in a lot of games where crafting is not the point of the game. I'm not talking about like Minecraft or I don't like Minecraft, but I'm not talking about that. In a game that is something else, but also has a lot of crafting, that always just feels like you're just padding. It's just filler. It's just something to make the game longer. And it's already a long enough game. I don't need that.
Yeah.
So I didn't really like the crafting in Mass Effect Andromeda, but the gameplay of it I quite enjoyed. Here's the thing. I could talk about Mass Effect for a long time.
Let's do another podcast episode about Mass Effect. I'm super down.
I did just in the mail get the Mass Effect board game, Priority Hagalas, and I'm really excited to try it. I haven't tried it yet.
Nice.
But I'm probably going to be doing a video for it for Rado.
Okay.
I might be doing it. I need to play it first.
Yeah.
If it's
definitely be on the lookout for that one for sure.
Yeah.
So which one is your favorite out of all of them then? Like the one that like it's like stands out for you? Is peak Mass Effect.
Yeah, I mean, everyone always goes to Mass Effect 2, and Mass Effect 2 was really good. But for me, actually, I think Mass Effect 3 was the one that I would go to. I loved the gameplay of Mass Effect 3. I think the gameplay of 3 is the best one.
Okay.
I think the story of 2 is really good, but I also think the story of 3 is really good. And people rag on the ending of Mass Effect 3. But here's the thing. If you only play it the one time and you experience your one ending, it doesn't matter that the other two endings are similar. You experience your story. And you had the ending that you had. And it's a good... No matter which side you go through, it's a solid ending.
Yeah.
So I don't really mind that the other two endings were kind of the same. And then they also, like, with DLC, they kind of made a little bit more variation between the three endings and stuff like that. But the imagery of Mass Effect 3 is so powerful, especially at the very beginning of Mass Effect 3 when Earth gets attacked by the Reapers.
Yeah.
And they have that big like sound effect that goes through the... It's so... Like, I'm getting chills just thinking about it. I'm not even joking. It's so good.
Yeah, definitely.
And it, like, really hits you emotionally. So the storytelling in Mass Effect 3, I think, is really, really good.
No, I agree. I have my gripes about 3. When I first started it, I hated it like everyone else. But then, like, the more like I thought about it, I'm like, okay, I think it's a good conclusion. Yeah. Good conclusion to the Shepard story. You're done. And like this whole, like you did this whole, like you said, a whole space opera that you went through, and like I thought it fit. And the more I thought about it, I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm happy with that ending. I'm okay. Maybe because like at the time when everyone was playing it, like Mass Effect was at peak, everyone was loving it, so everyone expected had set the bar up high. And then when they had that ending, everyone was like, oh, this is crap. I'm pretty sure if you ask those same people that thought that, they're probably like, no, I actually like the ending of Mass Effect 3. And I agree. And I thought it was great.
I'm known for liking the controversial endings, though.
Yeah,
I've got to be honest, because like I liked the ending of Battlestar Galactica.
Really?
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. A lot of people rag on it, but I think a lot of people. Spoilers for a 10-year-old show.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it.
Battlestar Galactica is a great show. First off, season 1 and 2 unquestionably excellent.
Okay.
And then season 3, beginning of it, I think is also very good. People think that season 4 is bad. But I would say that a lot of people didn't think that they were going to lean into the religious aspect of that season 4 really does lean into.
Gotcha. Yeah.
When the entire show, they were saying it. They were saying it from the start that the angels, the hallucinations that Baltar was seeing.
Yeah.
She says, "I'm an angel. I am working for God." Like,
and everyone's just like, oh, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, he's just crazy.
Yeah.
And yet there are prophecies, there are visions. Like the religious aspect is present from the start of the show.
Right.
So when you end it this way, with religion being a big part of it, people felt like it was coming out of nowhere, and I was like, it's been telling you that from the first episode.
Yeah.
I also really liked the ending of How I Met Your Mother. So like,
oh no,
yeah, no, it's good. It was bittersweet. I loved that.
Man,
oh,
I have my big gripes on that, but
sure.
I
thought Kristen Milioti was so good in the last.
Oh my
season,
gosh,
though.
like that's what I hated about that, because it was like, yeah, you have season one through 8. You're building up for the mother, okay, and then when you show Kristen Milioti, and like the way, and then the last season when they showed, I'm like, she's the perfect.
I
mother.
wanted her to be in more of it.
Yes. I just didn't like. My gripe is like, you've built up a whole 8 seasons of her to just kind of kill her off, like.
But that's the thing. It's not killing her off, in my opinion. It's giving her an ending.
Right.
You know, like every single person in that show eventually dies. If you are thinking that they are human people,
that's true. Yeah, that's true.
They're going to die.
They are going to die. You're right.
And it's another thing that I think that they were setting that up. And if you like hear the director talk about it, or the writers talk about it, they were from season 2 onward.
They already knew. Yeah.
They knew exactly how it was going to go.
Yeah.
They had 2 possibilities. From season 1, they thought if they were going to get canceled in season 1, they were going to tell everyone that Victoria was the mother. She was the baker. I
loved Victoria too.
She was great.
Oh man, she's a good runner-up.
They were going to say that she was actually the mother. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But once they didn't get canceled, they knew from the start how it was going to go.
Okay.
And that it was actually a story about Robin. And I think that they made that work. I think that they fully played into that the entire show. And I don't think that negates how special his relationship was with the mother. Because you got to see like the entirety of it. You got to see the beginning, but you also got to see moments in the future that he has with her. And these like great elements with that.
Yeah.
And so it would be nice if we got to see a whole nother show where we get to see them together and raising the family, but that's a different show. And so I thought that they ended her story very well. And again, I don't mind a bittersweet ending, and it was absolutely bittersweet. It was sad.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel personally, I didn't feel cheated about that.
Okay.
I felt that was a perfectly reasonable ending, a good way to end it. It wasn't the only way they could have ended it. They could have made it just a happy ending. And that would have been fine. I wouldn't have had a problem with that either. But I liked how they did that.
I still love the show. Like, the show is like one of my top favorite shows. I'll rewatch it to this day. I'll watch even the last season to this day, as much as people hate it. I wish maybe they could have not stayed too long on the wedding.
Yeah, that did feel a little stretched out.
It was a little too, maybe like first 3 episodes of wedding time. Like, okay, I'm cool with that. And then let's move on with more of the story.
I get why they did
but
it.
Yeah, exactly.
But it does, like, there are certainly episodes where it feels like it's dragging a bit.
Yeah.
You know, if it was a 12-episode season, doing the whole season that way, totally would understand. 24 is a bit much.
It was. I'm like, yo, you've been on 16 hours before the wedding, like, for like the past 3 episodes. Like how long is this gonna go? But yeah, I mean, all that tangent to say that, his favorite board games and video games.
We might cut that bit out.
Yeah, no worries. I like it. I love sharing stories. I love talking more. But there's a purpose to this episode. But there you guys have it. Here, Shae's favorite board game, Twilight Imperium, 4th edition, or everything.
Yeah, I know. I would go 4th edition. I've only played 3rd and 4th. I've never played 2nd or 1st. I mean, no, I don't think you can find 1st at this point. No. You could probably find 2nd if you looked really hard, but I have no reason to.
Yeah,
4th is better than 3rd.
4th is there.
I have to assume the 3rd is
yeah. Even though I went straight to 4th, so I was like, all right.
Yeah, no.
I saw your video. I'm like, all right, I'll go 4th.
You don't need to get 3rd. I think that 4th is better in general.
And you did, and your video explanation that here's the changes from 3rd to 4th. So I was like, So I was like, all right, okay, cool. I don't need 3rd. So Twilight Imperium, and then we're gonna go with Civ as your top,
let's go with Civ.
And then Mass Effect as a runner-up.
Mass Effect is a solid 2nd. Yeah.
Yes.
But it's hard. I don't know. Whenever I rank anything, it's always difficult. It's kind of what I feel like. It's easy for me to say Twilight Imperium as top because nothing else really matches it. But like, if you want me to say this is my 2nd favorite game, I don't know, man.
You're like,
it's really hard. And so kind of the same with video games. Like Civ and Mass Effect are definitely up there right now. I'm saying that they're my favorites, but it's hard.
It changes. It always changes. Yeah. It's what you're in the mood for and stuff like that. You have a channel on YouTube.
I do.
A board gaming channel. Yes. Is it mainly board game?
It is exclusively board
It's board game? Okay. RTFM, right?
Yes.
What is the meaning of RTFM?
RTFM is an acronym, and it's when I came up with this channel, thought that it was a little bit more well known.
Really?
Yeah, I thought more people, because I'd heard my dad say it, and like, but I don't know. My dad's a bit of an old school guy anyway, and whatever. RTFM stands for Read the Effing Manual.
Oh, okay.
So I thought it would be a kind of cheeky like thing to say for a
board game.
For a board game, because it's like, no, I'll read the manual so you don't have to.
Right.
You know? But I'm R-ing the FM.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Honestly, when I was coming up with the idea for a channel, I was trying to find something, and I've at the time especially, and still to this day, was a big fan of Shut Up and Sit Down, and I really liked how their name is a little bit cheeky and a little bit, aggressive in a way.
Right.
And so I wanted something like that. None of the other names I had, I think, were any good.
Yeah.
There was something, I came up with something like Board Games 101 or something. Like, it was kind of generic stuff. Yeah, it felt really generic. And this felt like it would kind of pop.
RTFM, okay. Yeah, I didn't know where to stand. I was literally like, I was like, Pascal, what is? I'm like, RTFM, what does that stand for? I'm like, role play, tabletop, friends.
Well, when I did, so I don't really use Twitter that much anymore. But when I was using it a lot, I wrote RTFM and then parentheses, and I would write a different thing.
Oh, really?
Like every month or two.
Yeah.
I think the one I have now, which I've had for, I don't know, a year, because I don't really bother to do it anymore, was Racing Towards Full Meltdown.
Oh, really? Oh, that's pretty cool.
But like sounds
like a band name too.
Yeah.
Like a heavy metal band.
Yeah. But yeah, I would go through a bunch of them just because I enjoyed just like, I liked the mystery of it a little bit.
Yeah.
And then one time I was doing a video for someone for a Kickstarter thing, and they put in the Kickstarter RTFM and then parentheses the thing that I had written on my Twitter.
Oh, yeah. You're like, that's not my name, but okay.
It's like, no, here's the thing. I was fine with
You're
that.
like, yeah,
all right.
I'm not even mad about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay, interesting. So our RTFM is pretty cool. And how long you been on that channel for? About a while now, huh?
I think almost 9 years.
9 years on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
When I first started, I was only putting out a video every like 3, 4, 5 months.
Okay.
Because they take a long time to make.
Yeah.
My tutorials.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was working a normal job,
Right.
and it was just something that I was kind of doing on the side. I was actually, at the time, me and a friend of mine were making a sketch comedy YouTube channel, and that was my main focus.
Yeah.
And I made RTFM because I wanted to learn how to edit, because my friend was doing all the editing for the channel, and so I thought this would be good because, one, I want to teach people how to play Twilight Imperium, 3rd edition at the time.
Okay.
And I had the feeling that I could do it better than anyone else had done it, because every other video that I'd seen at the time was over an hour long, and I was like, that doesn't need to be the case.
Yeah.
So I thought I could do it better, and also I wanted to learn how to edit. So I kind of just mixed those together and started. But then like RTFM kind of started taking off, and from the beginning, from that first video, people started to see it, and so it was doing pretty well. And then that kind of just became my focus.
Okay.
But yeah, that's I guess I was about almost 9 years ago.
9 years ago, okay, and still going strong. I see. And
I mean, it's
I love it, man. I love your videos, like especially like your thumbnails, because like obviously when, as board, and if you're a board gamer watching, you guys understand that like reading the rules is daunting. Reading, especially big games like Twilight Imperium, Mansions of Madness is like a 50-page booklet that I had to go through when I first got it. I was like, dude, what the heck? But I love what you do with your thumbnails, where you're like, learn to play Twilight Imperiums in 32 minutes or in 37 minutes. And I'm like, this is what I need. I don't need a 2-hour-long video of a guy's like, and then on your turn, you move this piece over. And I'm just like,
well, so I would say now there are a lot of people who are making good tutorials. I mean, Rodney's been doing it forever, and his is definitely the gold standard. His is very concise and very clear. He does a great job, and it looks good now too.
Yeah, he's improved.
Yeah, I mean, from the start, he was popular at first because he was the first person to do it well enough. But his stuff has gotten so good over the years that it's great.
Yeah.
But there's others. At Meeple University, they do good. Grogan's channel is good too. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. But Paul Grogan does good. But he also he edits rule books, so he really understands.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So he knows what's up.
And then there are others as well.
Right,
but a lot of people who think, oh, I can do this. I'll just do this. I'll just grab a camera and I'll do it. there's really a lot more to it if you're trying to make a good video. Because anyone can make a video. You just get your iPhone, point it at the board, and just start talking. But just because you teach it well in person doesn't mean you're going to make a good video.
Right.
And so a lot of people think they can do it without a script. And if you don't write a script, you're going to ramble.
Yep.
Because that's just human nature. Of course you're going to ramble. I ramble when I teach games in person. And you don't want that for a video because you need it to be concise. You need it to be clear. And if you are just going off the dome, even if you know the game really well, you're gonna ramble. You might miss something, have to go back, or like there's mistakes, or you won't be able to get close enough to the thing that's important.
Right. Exactly.
There's all kinds of stuff all kinds of pitfalls that people make, and so it ends up being with these like hour-long videos for a game that doesn't need to be
that long.
Doesn't need to take that long to teach.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm not trying to say people shouldn't try to do it.
Right.
If you want to, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not worried about competition or anything. I feel like it's one of the things where a rising tide raises all ships. I just want more people in the hobby.
Yes, yeah.
I
need friends.
I just want people to know what an undertaking a rules video is.
Exactly.
To do it properly, to do it well.
No.
And the way I do it, honestly, is like I'm making it even harder for myself because I do fully edited. Like I come from a film background, so I plan out all of my my inserts and every little B-roll shot.
Right.
Like I meticulously plan out every single shot that I'm going to do, and that's the harder way to do it. But I think that it's the clearest way to do it.
Right.
I don't like to do big wides where you're just on the same shot for 5 minutes. Because I think that's less visually interesting.
There you guys have it. You got a little bit to get to know Shae a little bit in his channel. Go check out his channel. I'll leave the links below. But I'm pretty sure if you're watching this, you already are following him. So
well, here's the thing I'll say. Sure, maybe some people know RTFM. I also do work for Rahdo. The one thing that I do try and plug these days is that I've been working with a channel called Above Board. It is an entertainment channel focused on board games. So it's a lot of like comedy. It's like a lot of sketch comedy, but it's also a lot of event kind of stuff. So right now they're at a thing called Wasteland Weekend, and which is sort of like a Mad Max kind of a post-apocalyptic kind of thing. It's sort of like Burning Man, but very like Mad Max themed. And so they a group of people from Above Board went there, and it's kind of like a cosplay kind of thing.
Nice.
So that I've seen some pictures from that. That's gonna look awesome.
Nice.
What I'm doing with them, at least what I'm doing the most with them, is we have an actual play D&D show called Dungeon Call, and I think it's a really fun show. It's got a great cast. It's a big cast with 6 of the Above Board cast and also 2 season 1 guests, which are Becca Scott and Jason Charles Miller.
Oh, I love Becca Scott. I love her content.
She's fantastic.
Yeah, she's awesome.
And on top of that, it's a fully unique world. And with kind of unique systems. Every class that we're playing is sort of like a homebrew class.
Oh, nice.
And we are filming it in a full AR studio. It's a big green screen studio.
Yeah.
Our backgrounds and all this stuff are all like fully virtual and stuff.
Right,
like
and that's called Above Board?
Yeah, Above Board TV.
Above Board TV. Check that out.
Is the channel, and Dungeon Call is the name of the
Dungeon
D&D
Call.
show. I'm really trying to get people to watch that because I think we're doing a really good job, but it's hard to get a new like D&D show off the ground.
Yeah, especially with you got the big conglomerate Critical Role and all those guys.
And I mean, like they do a good show.
Matt Mercer's killing it.
They do a good show.
But
we've been talking for too long.
Let's go. Let's dive into this.
I mean, let's keep talking, with a specific direction.
Yes, of Twilight Imperium, guys. We're gonna decide if this game is worthy to be on your top shelf or on yard sale. Where
blasphemy.
Yeah, it's not good. And to preference it, we're looking at through the lens of a new gamer, someone that has.
Oh, that's a strike against it.
That's like instant no. So new gamer, intermediate gamer, someone that maybe owns like a Carcassonne or maybe owns like some.
Played Catan, played Pandemic, Ticket to Ride.
Maybe has like an expansion here or two of like Pandemic or Catan. Maybe have like the 5 to 6 player, Seafarer, something like that. They're interested in board games, and you walk into this board game store and you see this big box, Twilight Imperium, thinking, what is that? What is that? What is going on?
Yeah.
And it looked intimidating. And a lot of people, I've seen this happen before, where they've seen a box and they're like, oh, this is cool. I'm going to get it. And then they get it and open it. They're like, what is this? And then just chuck it. So we're saving you some time here to let you know. But based on our opinion, bias aside, like this is a fun game. I love this game. Amazing game. definitely belongs on top shelf. But let's see if it beats the rubric here that we got going on here. So we developed 8 questions here. It's still a work in progress. I mean, I'm open to suggestions if you have like a question we should integrate instead of like take out or something like that. I'm open to that because this is an ever evolving rubric that I want to change. This is something like the basics that I came up with. I had a friend of mine help me out with editing it a little bit, but I'm always open to maybe like, oh, question 5 should be more this. I'm like, oh, let's do that.
Well, I hope you start with a banger. Question 1's got to be good. Pressure's on.
I It's already a no on this first question. And I'm like, I don't know why I set this question as the first one, but let's just go with it. We're going strong. So here we go. Let's go with the first question is this game easy to pick up and learn?
No. My entire career is based on the fact that it isn't.
It's not.
Legit. So, like, I straight up needed to make a video so that people would play this game with me.
Yep. So
yeah, no, it's not. Well, it's not. I would say it is easier now.
Yeah.
But
if you check out his video, there you go.
No, it's not easy to learn.
No.
I don't think that's the only thing that is important for a game. But like, 'cause some of my favorite games clearly are not easy to learn. But what I will say is, and I didn't think this when it first came out. I thought this was going to be the most complicated game I'd ever seen. It really isn't. There's a lot of rules, but I don't think that any of them. I don't think that most of them are complicated. I think there's just a lot of them.
Yeah,
which is the big issue.
It's a big guideline. A lot of guidelines you got to follow, but when it comes down to it, like the turn order, it's not it's not a game where it's like halfway through you're like, I don't get this, what I'm doing. Like it's a good game to pick up.
It's got complexity for sure, but I'd say what is not difficult about it, but like what really where the complexity comes from is the depth of the game. There's so many things you can do, and figuring out what the best thing to do is difficult.
Right.
So that's what I would say is the hardest part about it. But is it difficult to learn? Yeah. It's not easy for sure.
Definitely no Catan, but
Catan is surprisingly difficult, I think, for a new player.
It's difficult to master, I believe. Like,
well, just because it introduces a lot of mechanics that I would say anyone who's only played things like Clue or Monopoly won't have encountered anything like that.
Right.
So Catan, which for a person who's played a lot of games, is not especially complicated, though it's not simple.
Right.
There's a lot that's familiar there,
right?
But it introduces things, which I think is why people point to it as a gateway game, because it sort of opens your mind to the possibilities.
Right.
Whereas, like, if you look at Carcassonne, I think Carcassonne is a much easier game to teach than
tile placement type of game.
Yeah, and it kind of does the same thing. There's new stuff that you don't really see in other the big mass market games, but. Yeah.
So an easy no for that first question.
Yeah, I mean, come on, no, it's not.
The reason I put that question is because like number one is because like I feel like as a new board gamer, like that's the number one thing you're trying to figure out.
No, that's totally fair. It is, but I would say easy, maybe not the. It's clear, it's understandable what you're going for, but I would say that easy maybe wouldn't necessarily be the best word for it, but like, is it?
Fast.
Will I be able to understand it?
Oh, okay, that's a good one.
Like, will the average person be able to understand it? Because there are plenty of games that are like, oh no, this takes a little while to learn, but once you get it, you get it.
Got you.
And here's the thing. I think it's still a no. Like, I would never try and teach my parents Twilight Imperium.
Right.
But whereas, like, I will bring other games to my parents. Like they had a bit of a difficult time learning Scout, but they definitely got it.
Right. But okay, so we'll go. Well, number one is a no. Is this a game easy to understand?
Yeah,
and learn. Even then, with that verbiage, still no. So second question here is 2 and 3 kind of mesh together, but I wanted to separate them. Sure. The second one is, does this game have good component qualities to it?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
So yes, I think it does. I think it has a lot of good components.
I think that 4 is a big step up from 3 as well.
Okay.
3 still had, you ever get the only place you ever see this now is in war games, where you know what a sprue is?
Yes.
Yeah. So sprues, if you don't know, it's the like when you have, I think it's called injection molded plastic, they have these like big rectangular like sheets of plastic, and all of the pieces are connected to it, and you have to literally physically clip off all of the pieces, and that's what they did for third edition.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh snap! For all the ships and everything.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I didn't realize that. I didn't own a pair of like clippers.
Yeah, the little.
And so I was just like twisting them until they would break off. So a lot of that took a while, hurt my hands.
Oh my!
A couple of them still had like pointy plastic bits
the
on the end of them.
And everything.
Yeah, that was bad. So I'm really glad they upgraded that.
Yeah.
The component quality in
good.
is great. I will say my one gripe, the expansion. And I think the reason for this is that they had different manufacturers. The color is slightly off from the expansion faction pieces, because the expansion brings in a few new pieces. So there's like mechs and what else? The
new species.
Maybe it's just mechs.
Okay.
But anyway, the mechs are a different color. So like the red pieces and the red mechs are slightly different color.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Well, that would bug me. That would bug me.
It bugs me a little bit.
Yeah.
I will say.
I'm like, this isn't red.
Yeah,
like,
they're a little off.
Yeah.
The black ones are the same, I think. But the green ones are definitely different. The red ones are definitely different.
Okay. Does the expansion up the player count, or is it still?
Yeah, it ups it to 8 if you want. So it does bring in 2 new like colors of units, and those are obviously the same.
Right.
They match because they did the whole batch with that thing. But I never actually played it with 7 or 8. I want to. It's a lot, but I think I could manage.
I think if you have everyone that knows how to play, knows everything,
yes,
that would be
it's
gonna go. If you have, I think with that game, it's kind of like Root. If you have one player that doesn't know the game and everyone else does it, you're gonna take a while because you gotta now explain it to them how to play it. So same with Twilight Imperium. If everyone knows how to play except that one person who's like, you're gonna take a while longer to play for sure, definitely. But good game component qualities.
Absolutely.
I agree with that. But let's move on to the third question here. It kind of meshes in with the second one. But does this game have good game design? Good artwork, good.
Like physical
good design. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's why you're meshing with the second one.
Yeah.
No, I think it's really good. I love the fantasy artwork. There's artwork for every single faction, and there's 17 factions in the base game. Every single one of them, I think, has excellent artwork.
Yeah.
And
even the cover itself is beautiful.
I mean, look at this.
It's
what a wonderful like 90s sci-fi book cover.
Oh
this
my!
is. But like with
the Emirates of
colors.
Hycelian or
Hakan. Yeah.
Hakan, yeah, those are cool.
The space lions up here.
Yeah.
I mean, I could name each one of these. I don't need to out myself too much.
The Soul Federation of Soul over there.
All right, fine. I guess we're doing it. Okay,
go ahead.
Universities of Jolnar, Federation of Soul, the Barony of Letnav, the Cha Kingdom, and let's see, what else do we got here? Oh, the bugs. Oh no.
Uh-oh.
What are the bugs? That's not Mentak. What are the bugs? Wow.
I don't even know the bugs.
I'm mad. I'm mad at myself now.
Oh,
especially because they're the example I use in my video.
Yes, I saw it because you said those are the easier factions to kind of play with.
Well, I wouldn't say they're an easy faction to play. They're an easy faction to understand.
Yes.
They're actually a hard faction to play because they start off with such a weak starting situation.
I love that the virus faction.
The necrovirus?
Yeah, I think that was
cool.
Little bit of complexity about that one.
Yeah, for sure.
I think my friend played once.
I do wish they had a little bit of a complexity guide on each of these because, like, I would say Federation of Soul, really easy faction to play.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Space
Marines.
Yeah, and the University of Jolnar, I think, are an easy faction to play. They don't seem like it because they seem weak, but their tech is just so good. I swear to God, this is gonna bug me the entire. Let's move on.
Let's move on.
It's yes. I'm gonna spurt it out like it's gonna be in the middle of a sentence, and I'm just gonna yell it.
I'm like, oh, okay, we got it. But yes, good game design. I agree with you. Yes, I love the artwork. I love the whole going through. I usually just like going through the species and like seeing the artwork. I'm like, oh, this is so cool.
Yeah, they're really cool.
And reading it and stuff like that. Next question is, does this game have good replayability? Can you play this game multiple times?
Absolutely.
And I agree. Yes. Like my standard I put up there is, you probably have another standard is how well does match up with Betrayal Legacy, because that's a game where you can play Betrayal. House on the Haunted Hill.
So I played base Betrayal. I've never played Betrayal Legacy.
So not I didn't mean to say Legacy. I meant to say base Betrayal.
Oh sure.
I that's my limit. That's like my bar standard, because it's like a game where like again you could play it and it'll be different every single time.
Yeah.
But like It's like not like I said, like the lower standards like Monopoly. Like it's the same thing every single time. You just go around the board, you do this thing, whatever you buy. The whole mechanics is the same way. With Twilight Imperium, yeah, the mechanics still the same way, but like the map's different.
Yeah.
The way strategies are set are different. Monopoly, the strategy is just buy everything.
Yeah, there's Monopoly is not exactly a solved game, but it's definitely there are correct strategies and stuff like that. Same thing with like chess.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a solved game, but there are moves, there are plays.
Strategy, yes.
And with Twilight Imperium, it's such an evolving situation that you really have to react to what's going on and change everything. And with all the different factions that you play, it really changes the flavor of each game that you play.
There's so many factions you could choose, and your gameplay is going to be different based on the faction you choose. Because
exactly,
their ability is different. So definitely a yes for me, yes. And you agree with that one.
I will say it's not one you want to play again right away.
Yeah, give it some time. Give it time. Soak it all in.
You got to ruminate on it. But also, it just takes so long.
It does.
I got other things to do with my life.
Oh, yeah, right, exactly. You got to like set a date, like an appointment date, and check your calendar. I have April 14th available, 2027. All right, let's play it. Let's play it then. But good replayability. I agree with that. This next question I feel like it's going to be a no on this one. But does this game have a good setup time? Set everything up, all the tiles up. Now, here's what I did. This is what I do with all the games when I ask this question is, I timed myself.
Oh, okay.
From the very beginning of just taking it out of the box. If this is like I'm a new player, taking it out of the box, opening the rules, and looking at the setup and following the setup.
Sure.
If it's my first time.
Well,
the time I got, though, was 32 minutes. It took me about 35 minutes for a 4-player game.
Yeah.
So I took out all
you were setting up all 4 players.
I was setting up all 4 players.
That's the thing.
So that's what I took in account.
If you're having everyone set up their own stuff, I actually think it's not that bad.
Okay.
And especially because you can set it up where like, I've got all my ships aligned in a nice formation. I know where everything is. I've got all these things set up. Then it definitely takes a long time. And if you are learning it from scratch and just setting it up that way, yes, it takes a long time. But I don't know. I mean, okay. I think every game takes a lot longer to set it up the first time than any other time you play it. So I don't know if this is... I don't know if this should only be considered by the first time you play a game.
Okay.
Because if the goal is to maybe you want to keep this on your shelf, at least for me, whenever I'm setting up a game, it takes a while to learn this stuff, like where everything goes, how to do all the things, and what everything is. But most of the time, as I'm setting up, I'm realizing, okay, next time I do this, this will be a step. We'll go here, go there.
Right.
The setting up the map is interesting because you can just do the pre-made setup, and on your first game, you probably should.
Yep.
But that's not too hard. I mean, it takes a little while to find the specific tiles, but it becomes a part of the game once you've done that, or like in future plays.
When you create their own galaxy yourself.
Yeah, exactly, because that's just part of the game.
That's a fun way.
You're drafting at the galaxy. So like, yes and no. It does take a while, but I don't think that only on your first time.
Right.
I don't think that afterwards it takes a long time. Now, for me, whenever I'm hosting, I will set up everything. I'll set up everything for every player because I want to cut down as much playtime as I can. So I will, like the day before, make sure everyone knows like what faction are you playing. Let me know, and then I'll set that up for you, and all that stuff. Okay. So. That's a mixed. I would say a mixed on that one.
It's a tough. Yeah, now that you're bringing it up, it's a tough one.
I mean,
it's like I think like if we're thinking like average board gamer, you have your friends over, you whip it out, they all agree to it. Now you're setting it up, and if you're telling everyone how to set it up, okay, you can set it up. But like if you're doing the majority of the work, you're gonna be there for a minute. Setting it up.
But I would never, even if I'm getting a bunch of new players, I would never want to, with that game, unless I'm doing it the day before, I would never want to do everything for everyone because I think that's a valuable learning opportunity.
It helps to set up.
So I would, like, if we're all setting it up together, I would, while setting up, I would sneak in a little bit of the teach with that because you can... like if you've got maybe a player board with a bunch of pieces or whatever, I would say like, okay, so you got your player board here. There's a bunch of these tokens. So put this one. This was your economic track. Put one here. This is your military track. And this is not Twilight Imperium I'm talking about, but like, any game where you have to put things in specific places, you can use that as an opportunity to start to plant the seeds of like what everything is. And so that I think helps serve the teach.
I think if you have players helping you set it up, I think that 32 minutes gets dropped down to like maybe 25 minutes. You're cutting off a couple of minutes, shaving off time because they're setting up their board, setting up their people. Because I was setting it up as 4 players, kind of like setting up for them. That way they can set it up, putting up the thing. And then I was setting up on my table. My table's small, so I was like moving around.
If you don't have space for it, it's tricky because you do have to figure out where everything's going to go.
Yeah, exactly. So, for me, I think I'm gonna go with no on good setup time.
Yeah.
Mostly because of just like all the components you're taking out, all the stuff you're kind of setting up.
Yeah.
It's not like
I do have a like a special insert kind of set for it. Like there's a 3D printed insert thing that I got from someone.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty good. It's
like it's all.
Yeah, basically you can just sort of like pull out the things and
it sets things up easily. I need to get me one of those.
Yeah, I'll send you the link. I don't remember it off the top of my head.
For sure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that'd be great. I'm gonna go no. I'll leave it up to you though, because you're driving it. So
I will say no, but like objectively,
okay.
But for I've definitely played games with longer setups.
Yeah, so. No, for sure. Looking at you, Spirit Island. The game is so long, especially if you have all the expansions. It takes a long time to set up. Yeah. This next question is this game decently priced, or will it break your wallet?
It's not cheap.
Yeah, I set a standard kind of on this question. We can change it. When a lot of people, the definition of decently priced is like all over the place. People think, oh, $5 is decently priced. $10, I'm like, okay, you're never gonna find a game that's like $5 unless it's in a yard sale. But I said a good board game that's a price range where you think, I can buy that. I set a standard from like $30 all the way up to like maybe $75, $80.
Okay,
it's like a good range for like.
Last I checked, it was more than 80. But also, I expect to pay about 50 for a game. 50, but it depends on the box size. Because if it's like if you're grabbing Scout, that should be a 25. I think that should be a $15 game. But it's Oink, so it's going to be a $25 game.
It's 18 on Amazon.
Oh, cool.
There you go. Well, it's on sale. If it's on sale, normally $25. Yeah.
Yeah. I think if you get it at a con, I think it's 20.
Yeah.
20 or 25. I don't remember exactly. Anyway, if it's a Ticket to Ride size box, I always expect it to be about 40 to 60. And if it's a bigger box, but like the size of this, so I won't know the exact number, but it's either, last time I checked, was either like 100 or I think when it was new, it was 150.
Yeah, I bought it. I think when I bought it for like 135.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Like 135.
To be fair, I never bought it. It was sent to me, so I don't know the
exact pricing.
Yeah, the exact price, and I know that it's gone down because it's been out for a while.
It's been a while for you, right?
I feel like you might be able to find it for $100 or a little bit more than that, which admittedly is expensive, but I do think that for what you get,
yes,
it is worth.
It's worth the price.
Yeah, but the thing is that's hard to know. It's always hard to know going into it. But I would say if you've done your research and you know what kind of game this is, then I think it's a fair price.
Fair price. Okay.
Yeah, as long as we're saying, God, 130 is still expensive.
So
according to the internet, it's $131 on Amazon at the moment, and we originally priced $165. So yeah, that was probably when it first came out. I don't think anyone's really selling it for $165 these days.
Yeah,
but $131's a lot. But I would say that's sort of just on the cusp of like, again, for what you're getting.
Yeah,
I think it's worth it, and especially for a game like this, what I would say, don't buy it if you're the only one who wants to play it. Buy Twilight Imperium if you have minimum 2 more people that really want to play it.
Yeah.
And then get them to split the cost.
There you go. Hey.
And then what's 100? I'm going to pretend it's 120. 120 divided by 3 is 40. So that's just like $40 a person or $45 a person.
That's
or
right.
So.
That's true.
And that is a perfectly reasonable amount of money to spend on a game.
Oh, there you go. You just found the loophole right
exactly.
there. You found the loophole.
So yeah, it's super cheap actually.
If you can split it with some friends.
But here's the thing. I legitimately think that that's a good thing to do.
Okay.
Find don't buy this game if you don't have a group already.
Yeah.
But also, because it's such a commitment, I would say find a group that's willing to go in together with it, with you on it.
Yeah.
So in that case, I would say for what you get, it is reasonably priced.
Okay.
It's not cheap though.
Okay. So we'll go with a solid minimal yes for what you're getting. Your wallet's not going to be happy, but your memories are going to be happy. You're going to have a good time. It's all about time. Money comes and goes, but time does not.
It's value. And I mean, admittedly, board games are inherently a luxury. So like you're always going to be paying, almost always going to be paying a little bit more than you need to for it. But
a lot of the games, there's some games I have that I'm like a little ashamed to say how much I paid for them. But that's the price of any hobby, really.
A lot of them, yeah.
Yeah, and any good hobbies that you have, you're going to be spending some money. So we'll go with the minimal yes,
tentative yes,
yes with there. This question for sure is a big yes for me. The next question is: does this game have good lore?
Oh yeah,
yes, it does.
This game has such good lore. I wrote fan fiction for it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh snap.
So the way that the lore is presented in this game, not only is there a little blurb in the rule book, there's also a secondary little booklet that just gives you pages of lore. There's also on every single player's character sheet, the whole backside of it is a lore, like it's paragraphs of lore. So if you want to, you can really lean into your character or your faction when you're playing. And I personally really like to do that. I was telling you before we started recording that like the last time I was playing it, I was playing as the Mahakt Gene Sorcerers, who's these really haughty, just like better than you kind of people. And so I was playing that from the start. I was like, hey guys, I'm going to attack you because I need your DNA. Don't worry about it. It's only because I'm better than you. And I really enjoyed playing it that way. And so the lore really plays into it, I think. What the fan fiction stuff is that for my Patreon, I have what I made was epilogues for every single faction. Because I feel that while Twilight Imperium is an amazing game to play, sometimes the ending can be a little anticlimactic. Because it can be kind of a foregone conclusion, or one person can just be like, I know I'm going to win. There's literally nothing you can do to stop me, but I have to play this whole round out. While other people are really trying. Yeah. And that's a little bit unfortunate. So I wrote epilogues for it. And so at the end of every game, I have the person who got second place reads out the epilogue for the winner.
Oh, okay.
There are 2 epilogues for each faction. Okay. One of them is the honorable epilogue, and one of them is the dishonorable epilogue. And all of the other players vote on how the winner won. Did they win honorably or did they win dishonorably? Okay. And that epilogue gets read out.
How would that factor in of your like what would constitute as you're winning it honorably? Like, did you not force a lot of people, invade a lot of nations?
For I mean, it's up to interpretation. But for me, what that tends to mean is like you didn't break promises. You didn't like. I mean, that's a big part of it. Like you weren't like ridiculously aggressive. You didn't win by like sneaking something away from somebody. Like. There's certain things, but a lot of it is just like, did you keep your word?
Right, gotcha. Okay.
You didn't like steal a bunch of stuff from other players.
Right.
There's some underhanded tactics that you can do, and they're legitimate tactics in this game. Like it's, a win's a win. But,
exactly.
Or like if I don't know. I don't like it if someone just wins by someone giving them a support for the throne in the last round. That's. If it looks like there's a clear winner, and then so everyone else teams up to give support for the thrones to a different player.
Oh, gotcha.
To make it so that the person who earned it. Didn't win. That I don't love.
Now you're just being salty right there.
Exactly. So I think that's a dishonorable.
Gotcha. Okay. But yes, it does have good game lore. I mean, you have backstories of each of your species on the back of your sheets. You have a whole booklet dedicated to like the whole lore,
and the lore feels like it fits with the mechanics of the game. That's because like you can have a game with a big, rich backstory, but if you're just pushing cubes around, if it's just a tile placement game with no real connection, then great, good for you. You hired a writer to make a story, but like if you have your lore connected to the mechanics, that's what I think is really impressive when you have that connection.
I agree. Good game lore. And we're gonna end it with our last question here is does this game have good turn play good game pacing? Is it good game pacing? Does it have good turn play, good gameplay? This one I feel like is a little tough one because
just like how's the pace of
the game?
Yeah.
I mean, we all know those people that take forever on their turns.
Yeah.
Like that. But like, if we cut that aside, and like everyone knows kind of what they're doing, does this game does it move along pretty well?
Yeah, I think that it does move along pretty well. You can definitely, I mean, the higher player count games there will be longer between your turns.
Right.
But I do think there's even when there's two sort of sides to this. Even when it's just another person taking their turn, there's still things for you to consider.
Yeah.
One, paying attention to what they do is often important, depending on how close they are to you.
Right.
But also, planning for your next turn, there's things to consider while other people are taking their turn. So it doesn't usually feel like wasted time to me. And then on top of that, they do a really good mechanic, which is the strategy cards in the game are special things. An action that you have for that round, when you play your strategy card, you will get your bonus, and then everyone else will have the opportunity to get a secondary bonus. And there's not a guarantee that they're going to do that. They might just pass it by. That happens a lot. But it also means that you are able to do things on other players' turns. And because you don't know when they're going to play their strategy cards, you are paying attention to see like, oh, if they're playing it now, that's good for me or bad for me or whatever. So I think that it does have a good pace, but it's also very player dependent.
Right.
Because if you have people who take a really long time on their turns, as you said, that slows things down quite a bit. And this game is susceptible to that. So one, you need to make sure people know it's their turn.
Yep.
That is very important, and that is occasionally difficult. I've seen different strategies for this. One group that I play with sometimes, they have this little like tower kind of thing with a ball on it. And the way that it works is that whoever's the speaker for that round, who's the first player, actually not always first player, but anyway, whoever's the speaker has this like tower, and then the ball is handed to whoever's turn it is. So as soon as you're done with your turn, you physically hand the ball to the next player, so that they know it's their turn. There's no confusion of like, all right, I'm done, and then it takes 30 seconds before a person realizes, oh, is it my turn?
Yeah.
Which is a common issue that games like this can have.
Yep.
So this physically handing a thing to a person helps with that.
That's pretty smart. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it works out pretty
well.
very
ingenuitive to like, here you go. You're.
But the fact that you might need a thing like that does mean that it is because it's not always just going clockwise order. It
based on
goes around based on which strategy card people have. So I would say yes for this conditionally.
Yes, based on who your crowd is and stuff like that. I think a good example would be like, let's say you have friends that don't take long on the turns. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Now let's factor in like if it's on my turn, and this game does not, which it does, but this game does not have a mechanic where like you can do things out of turn or like with other players. If you're waiting on another player to do his turn, and you see a guy like whip out their phone, kind of like waiting on a turn, that's my factor of like, okay, maybe this game's a little bit too slow. Where if there's a mechanic where like you can't do anything out of turn. Which this is not the case for this game. This game you have lots to do, so like it's a hard yes. But there's like other games where like, I mean, sadly like with like Betrayal, I mean you can't do things out of turn when you're waiting. So if you're just waiting on your player and he's doing moves, doing things, they're active, they're doing their turn, but you're still waiting. You're like the sixth person still waiting, and they're like turn two. Yeah, you're gonna kind of whip out your phone, kind of wait for them. That's like okay, maybe the gameplay is like a little too slow. Maybe like. We can play another game where it keeps everyone engaged and stuff like that. Spirit Island, you're keeping engaged because you gotta know, or Scout, all these other games, you're keeping engaged. Twilight Imperium, you're keeping engaged. For sure.
I fully agree with
so yeah, that's a yes for me and a yes for Shae as well here. But that's all 8 questions that we got here.
All right. I feel like I'm cheating a little bit, but
I think we answered them fairly. I think with I think you broke it down each question pretty well. I guess these questions were like just cutthroat, but like I needed more of like thank you so much for providing the in-depth questions, more of like yes, no, but this and this and this and that, which I agreed. Which gives us a total of 6 out of 8.
Okay,
which makes this game
that's just getting on
right there
on the cusp.
So this game is a top shelf game for sure. It deserves to be on your top shelf. It is on mine. I mean, well, it's kind of at the bottom.
It's literally on my top shelf.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. I wish I could have it on my top shelf, but it's so bulky. So like, maybe I could put it up there.
Yeah.
But I figured I'd put it down there. I might have to switch it up because But it is a top shelf game. It is a fun game, guys. I would definitely check it out if you're interested. But exactly what Shae said. Find friends that are interested in this game. Don't buy it willingly, and then like if you don't have that core gaming group, this is not a game for you. For as much as you want it, you're not gonna play. And even,
it's not an aspirational game.
Exactly.
Don't buy it knowing that the group will come later.
Exactly.
Here's the thing: if you really want to play it, what I would recommend is playing it on Tabletop Simulator.
Tabletop Simulator,
because it is a surprisingly good, surprisingly well scripted mod for this game.
Yeah.
So it does things pretty well. It actually helps with helps keep the pace down, which is important because I find that anytime you play a game on TTS, it's always increasing the length of the game a little bit. But it does the scripting helps counteract that.
Right.
So I think that does a really good job of that. But also you can play with people anywhere.
Yep.
So that's going to make it easier, I think, potentially, if you've got friends across the country to play this game with the people who want to play with it.
No, I agree. I 100% agree with that, and I love TTS. I think TTS is a good like precursor to see if you enjoy the game, and if you have people willing to play the game, then now you can go make the purchase.
Exactly.
Purchase. Like some of my games I purchased because I tried it on TTS first, and I was like, oh, I love this game. Like I did the Lord of the Rings: Journeys of Middle Earth. I bought that game because I played on TTS, and I'm like, oh, this is so cool, and it incorporates an app, and it's really cool. But it's a great way to do that. But yeah, this is a fun game to play. Lots going on, especially if you love fantasy, space, sci-fi, conquest, politics. It's like a mix. You have like risk mixed in.
It's got something for everybody.
Exactly right. But I'm glad that Twilight Imperium made the top shelf. I was a little worried here.
Sweating.
It was I was like. First question, I was already like, man, this is going to be a tough one to answer. And some of these questions are a little bit tough if we're not looking at it from our biased point of view. Obviously these are yeses for me. If it was just me, you're asking me, like, yeah, it's easy to set up. Yeah, it's easy to do this. Yeah, it's easy. But if we're trying to, the viewers here that have never, I'm pretty sure half of my viewers have never heard of Twilight Imperium.
Well, it's one of those things that, I don't recommend it for everyone. I don't recommend that everyone own this game.
Yeah.
But I do think everyone should try it if you like heavy games. If you don't like heavy games, don't play it. If you only like card games, if you're just playing Scout, if you're just playing Carcassonne, and you don't get any deeper than Pandemic, no shade. That's totally legitimate. This is not the game for you.
Yep.
But if you like dipping your toes into the heavy games, or you really like heavy games, this should be on everyone's radar. Everyone should play it at least once, just because it does things, and it provides an experience that I don't think any other game really does.
I agree. It's if you're a board gamer that has light games and trying to make the next step, or intermediate board gamer, I think this is a good game to have on your radar. If you meet the requirements, obviously you got if you got your group, try looking into it, research it, play on TTS. If you feel like it's a good game to own physically, split the cost with your buddies. So there you have it. I mean, Shae, thank you so much for joining us here. I am so humbled that you came to our tiny little podcast here. I mean, you're a busy man. You got stuff going on. I mean, I'm even shocked that you replied back on Instagram. I'm like, oh, Shae replied back on Snap. I was like so giddy. And like I said, to me, you're a celebrity, man. Like you're up there. You've rubbed elbows with the big wigs of board gaming, so you're up there too. And I love your content. I watch all your content on our RTFM. Love watching again. Whenever I don't want to read rules, I just turn to you, my man, to guide me into this journey of this board game I just bought and stuff like that. And if you don't have it, then I probably don't own it. So thank you again so much for joining us. Quick plugins for you. Again, obviously, go check out RTFM. Check out Above Board Gaming.
Above Board TV.
Above Board TV, sorry. Yeah. On YouTube. Can they find that anywhere else on YouTube? Just YouTube solely?
That's the main platform for it.
Okay. And then you're doing Dungeon Crawl.
Dungeon Call. Yeah, Dungeon Call that's on Above Board TV.
On Above Board TV, yes. You can.
Yeah, we've got about 10 episodes out right now. Okay. They're about hour and a half episodes. Okay. So not like too long.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it's a really cool story, and it's like visually doing things that no one else is doing.
I'm excited to check that out.
RPG space. So.
Definitely excited to check that out. I'll leave the links below on the comments. Yeah, go check it out. Guys, if you want to get a hold of us, again, like we're talking about social media, you guys can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everywhere, all in there. Give us a follow. Give us some subscribe if you like. Subscribe to his channel. Subscribe to everywhere that he's at, because he provides some awesome content. You won't be sorry. And then leave a comment below on this videos. Tell him that I sent you. Tell him that Vic sent you, because you found him. And so it'd be awesome to see that. And comment below on our videos. What do you think about Twilight Imperium? Did you like it? Do you think it is a top shelf game, or does it belong on the garage sale or yard sale? I mean,
I can't imagine like someone going to a yard sale and stealing Twilight Imperium. Like that's a wilder.
It's crazy,
a wilder
right?
purchase than like going to a game store and seeing it.
Right? Like, how much you want for this? Oh, I don't know, like $10.
Because you never know what you're getting at a yard sale. So if you see a game and someone's selling it for like $20 or whatever, and like, I don't know, it's a big box, it looks cool, a person might grab it and then be completely floored because if you didn't know what you were getting.
Yep, exactly.
That's, I think, would be that's even wilder than having it on the top shelf, in my opinion.
Exactly, yeah. But, so maybe it's not a bad thing it's on a yard sale. But so Twilight Imperium, top shelf, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Y nos vemos para la próxima.